All right, Mike, I don't want to gloss over what you just said. The chemicals in the hives that were used to treat the mites are still there, but the mites have built up a tolerance to those chemicals to the point where they no longer work. The state of Florida has changed to its third or fourth type of chemical treatment. Within the past 20 years, they changed it about, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, because the first 3 are no longer effective.
Now, you initiate synergism between the compounds added on to each other, which means that makes it even stronger yet for killing, which is harder contamination.
Yep.
And it's a reason for foundationalists, it's a reason for self-contained, it's a reason for
I want to let you continue, but I didn't want to gloss over that. I felt that was important.
I'll give you four steps to having healthy bees. If you want to know how to have healthy bees, I'll give you 4 steps to having healthy bees. First of all, I would not use foundation, because the foundation is all contaminated to start with. Not only is it contaminated, it's all the wrong size. It's a size that's bigger than what the bees would make, and therefore it makes the gestation period from the time that the egg's laid until it's capped, and from the time that it's capped until they emerge, that whole thing from egg to emergence on 5.4, which is their standard foundation, takes 21 days. On their own comb that they build, it takes 19 days. Well, the varroa reproduces in the cell while it's capped, and for every day that's longer that it's capped, you get one more. It's every 36 hours actually, but for every 36 hours you end up with one more mature mite. Okay, well, the varroa mite that goes in the cell starts laying eggs every 36 hours. It's only the ones that make it all the way to maturity and mate that survive. And usually that's only 1 and maybe 2. Well, on 5.4. On normal foundation, it's between 0 and 1. Well, the mites can just barely keep a little bit of mites going on natural cell. They can't do, but they can explode on enlarged cell. So my first advice I would give you is I would not use foundation. I think foundation is just...
If you don't use foundation, what would you use?
Foundationless. They save your clean wax. They're self-contained.
There are 2 things you can do to start foundational. Starter strips, which means you take a piece of comb or a small piece of foundation and you just put like 3/4 of an inch at the top of the bar. That's it. You don't put the full frame in. That's one way to do it. The other way is the honey supercell that she mentioned. It's fully drawn comb.
There's a third way.
Give me the third one.
Okay, again, you're self-contained, you're foundationless, you're saving your own wax. Daydance don't publicize it. Fresh Mountain don't publicize it. Kelly don't publicize it. Glory Bee don't publicize it.
What is it?
You save your own wax.
Save your own wax. That's these are people who are starting to do it.
Once you get above 100 pounds, this is where 2 or 3 you'll see coming in together.
Yeah.
And they'll do working rates.
Yeah.
In other words, you bring your wax and they'll work your wax, give you your wax back.
There's another method that we use also, especially top bar. Take top bar, which has a groove in it, usually. Take popsicle sticks and glue them into that groove. It gives them something to start on.
Yeah.
$3 a box for 300 sticks would be a Walmart or Michael's Crafts.
And that is the way to try.
The jumbo popsicle sticks, they're called craft sticks.
Okay.
They come in a big blue box, 300 sticks to a box. They cost about $2.99 or $3.14, something like that. You get them either at Michael's Crafts or Walmart.
You can also go to the hardware store and get paint sticks for free. Just
The
split them down.
paint sticks.
Okay, you can say I have a thing, 4 steps.
Yeah, that's just my first one.
Yeah. What's step number 2?
And actually, one more thing on the foundation. The easiest thing to do on foundations, I think, is buy the wedge top, break the wedge out, turn it sideways, nail back on. More and more, I'm beginning to recommend that.
Mike, what's number 2?
Okay,
Guys, Dean, I'm sorry.
sorry, we got some ground to cover here. Okay, 4 steps. Number 1, I would not use foundation because it's all contaminated anyway and it's the wrong size.
Yeah.
Number 2, I would get locally bred bees that are surviving. Now, down here they're going to tell you, oh, well, they're Africanized. Well, you know what? Here's what I think. If you've got nice bees, you've got nice bees. If you've got mean bees, you've got mean bees. I don't like mean bees. If I have mean bees, I get rid of them and I get rid of that queen and I re-queen.
If they call them other than Africanized bees, you never know it.
Well, the reality is if you've got Africanized bees that are nice, then you've just hit the mother load because they're good survivors.
Yes, they are.
But I'm not saying you should try to get or not get Africanized bees. I'm saying just pick good bees and don't worry about it. If they're gentle and they're surviving and they're doing well, then that's what you want. If they're not gentle, then that's not
I'm
what you
going to
want.
pop Mike's bubble just a second. I'm going to answer. I'll let you ask a question. I'm going to pop Mike's bubble. That is one of the biggest problems we have down here in South Florida is buying bees, especially locally, because there isn't anyone right now who really sells packages or hives on even a semi-commercial basis.
I'm from South America. I always hear about African.
You are loaded with them.
I know they're
No,
really
they're
bad.
native bees. They would admit to native bees. They were there prior to the Spanish coming over.
So I don't know what's really different between an African bee or a honeybee. Is it the same species? It's just
Yeah.
Yeah, same species. You can't tell the difference by looking at it. Taste DNA tells us the difference is attitude.
It's
Attitude. Yeah, attitude. You had your hand up, asking Mike a question, so
You
go.
answered the question, so you can't get local bees.
That is one of the biggest issues we have. With,
I have a friend that's got 3 hives in the walls of his house.
yeah, well, there's no one you can buy. Yeah, there's no one you can go up to and buy now back. We have members that sell hives. That's one of the things I did with bringing Dallas down here, with bringing the nukes down here, so that we could get you guys some hives. But he still drove 5.5 hours from High Springs to bring his bees down here to us.
This is Florida, don't we have naturally bees down here, or is it just like?
Yes, we do, but the thing is, we have drummed out so much of our agricultural industry that there's almost no place left for anybody to raise bees. One of the only people who's actually making an effort right now is Mark McCoy. He's making an effort at raising queens. Just queens alone, because that's the only thing.
Martin
here.
Strottenhoff down
Yeah.
by Fort Myers.
The Fort Myers is on the other side of the state. That's another 3 hours away. See, it is tough. That's why
Well, then buy a couple of packages so you're legal, and then if you catch an odd swarm.
That's what we all end up doing.
never know.
That's one of the things I'm trying desperately to work with, is that if we get enough of the local beekeepers, even the hobbyists who have 3, 4, or 5 hives and stuff, you can maybe purchase a hive from them, or another hive from someone else and stuff. It's a good way to get started. I don't think I'm going to be able to kickstart the commercial beekeeping selling craze down here, because it is very difficult to do that. It really is. It's a business in and of itself. It's not pollinating, it's not doing honey, it's getting bees together to make queens and to sell boxes or packages of bees like Mike and Don and other people do, none of whom live down here.
Well, then you need a class on queen rearing.
Oh, guess who's doing that a little bit later on today for the advanced course?
But you know that?
But that comes later. Queen rearing is something I want to have happen as these people go through this. I want them at least learning what a high bar is first, okay? So we'll go with that. We run number 2.
Let's finish number 2, which is in other words, you need bees that can survive and that do well in your climate. Well, the best way to get bees that survive and do well in your climate, even if you can't find them right now, even if you have to buy a package from Georgia or wherever, is you do your own splits, let them raise their own queens. You're going to have bees eventually that are surviving and doing well in your climate. So don't buy queens.
Well, I'll curtail that slightly, because queens can be important, especially if your queen dies and stuff. But
You're going to have a queen, but I'm saying if you do splits, they'll raise a queen if you learn how to do splits. And there's a whole section on my website that I think you'll find
The only thing with buying queens is everybody buys their own type. You might have 4 or 5 types in an area, and every layer of queens, as they combine, makes for a different size cell. And the nature only does it with 2 coming together. With people, there could be 3, 4, 5, 6 different mixtures. Everything's a different cell size, and that's why it's hard to, when you start growing foundations, or everyone in your area is doing it different. You got the bees in your area, getting a mess in the hive. Because they're so confused by people.
that is one of the things. That is one of the things I will also mention to go with the foundational frames. You will very often find sometimes is that you have to work with your bees a little bit when you get them started on doing the foundationless frames, because the idea is for them to build within the frames in the same parallel lines as the frames go. It happens often. Every now and then you get a bee set that decides, hey, let's go perpendicular.
Yeah, but this is,
You
beekeepers want uniformity.
Yeah.
Now, for someone that's overseeing that wants job security, you want problems, so you create problems. And the first thing they want you to do is bring every type of bee you can find into the area, because the more problems you have, they got work for life.
Right, so-
But not only that, but keeping the stuff the same line also makes it a little easier to inspect. Continue.
But the fact that the bees will